Hi, Mike Pelonzi back with another episode of Safe and Sound, and actually today we're going to do part 2 on how to stay safe on the road. I don't know if you saw part 1, but definitely check that out. Just to give you a quick recap of what we talked about in part 1. We talked about general road safety tips, the pre-drive inspections, ongoing monitoring with a plan ahead of your trip. I told you about the website mass511.com. That'll give you all the road closures, any accidents, detours that you might run into, and also how to avoid high crime areas you might be driving through. I talked about crime mapping in that episode. Defensive driving, your defensive tools that you may take with you, and some of the legalities went with that. And then we kind of ended with essential tools and comfort items when you take on a trip. So that brings us today, which we're going to start with what we should be doing every day in our lives, which is situational awareness. Always stay together when you're out on the road, gift shops, restrooms. I talked about restrooms, the dangers in there all the time. The guys not using urinals, going into a stall, because criminals, not so much in this area, but I mentioned before, especially in New York City, bad guys wait in public restrooms, and then when you're going to use the urinal, they attack you from behind and it puts you in a big disadvantage. So I always like to, go in the stall, lock the door. That way you have some time, some situational awareness. When you open the door, you can evaluate what's going on around you. Abductions, assault happens really quick when you're on the road. Bad guys look for people who are separated. And when they talk about situational awareness, people, I look around, but I go, all right, so do you know what the OODA loop is? And OODA loop is famous. It was designed by a military strategist in the U.S. Air Force, Colonel John Boyd. It's used throughout many applications, many professions, security guards, police departments, situational instructors like myself. We all use OODA loop. It's designed to cover some key things when we talk about the OODA loop. And the first thing is observe. Gather the information from your surroundings, such as people approaching you, whether you're at a gas station. Again, the gift shops are big. Orient yourself. Orient is analyze the information, assess the situation based on past experience and your knowledge. Again, we always only act on our level of experience, and we act on our plan that we've already made in place. Remember, your body cannot go where your mind is not already bent, so we always create a plan. And people go, how do you live like that? I go, listen, it's not like we get out of our vehicle and we're so paranoid, we're frozen in fear. No, we're not on our phones, just a quick look around. Is someone up to us asking us directions? How many people really ask directions these days? That was common, 20 years ago. Now everyone's on their phone. Is he asking for help? Am I willing to help someone, say they have a car broken down? Sure, if it's in amongst everyone else. If he goes, yeah, my van's broken down behind this building, I'm probably not going to go down there and help him. But I'd be offered to call AAA or a tow company or the police to assist. So we have to orient ourselves with the situation that's around us. Then we decide. Make a decision, how are you going to respond? I just talked about that. Do they really need help, or are they a threat? Are they trying to lure us into a bad situation? And remember, cowards work in pairs, right? So we always keep our eye out for the second person. Very few bad people work alone. That is across the board. Then we're going to act. What do? What's the decision? Do we get aggressive? Do we just kindly walk away? I'm all about, avoidance, walk away. Go in the store, say, I think this guy needs help. Maybe you want to call someone. Every rest stop has a plan in place for someone in need, whether they're going to call roadside service, whether they're going to call police, whether they're going to call fire and ambulance. Let them make the call and decide what they want to do and who they want to bring in. Anyone who truly needs help is never going to deny help. And that's the thing. Let me get some more people. No, we can do it just ourselves. Huge red flag. Really? Can we do it ourselves? Guess what? We're not doing anything ourselves because I'm not leaving the crowd. I'm staying where people are, and I'm going to keep myself safe. Gas stations, it's unbelievable the people who are getting their pocketbooks and items stolen right while they're pumping gas. It happens quick. I actually am going to include this in a PowerPoint, and I don't have it here today, but I will later on. I was walking through a parking lot right down here in Beverly, and a car, all windows were open, and a pocketbook was sitting there. I took a picture of it. We went in, did some shopping. Half an hour later, came out. Guess what? Car's still there, windows down. Thankfully, this lady's pocketbook is still there, sitting there. Do not leave your items unattended, especially when it comes to gas stations, rest stops. Leave your windows up. Keep your doors locked. It's not a bad idea to lock your doors while you're pumping gas. You can get distracted. You can look at a great motorhome. Maybe someone's talking to you, asking you the time. It only takes a few seconds for someone to reach in your car. Or even open the door. They open the door, they run away. They won't slam it shut. You'll look, why is my door open? Why is my computer bag gone, or my laptop, or my pocketbook? So always stay focused. Avoid distractions, such as your phone. And always figure scan the area. Just look behind you, see what's going on. Maintain visibility, position yourself so that you can see the surroundings and anyone approaching you. Depending on how the gas station is set up, how the rest stop is. I know this, it's July, everyone's traveling. I always like to park as close to the buildings as I can, not because I'm lazy, just park close to the building, and let's look at huge RVs and pickup trucks or delivery trucks. Try not to park between them, creating your own blind spot when you're walking up to your vehicle. When it comes to paying, always have your payment ready before you get to the gas station or the cashier. Have your credit card in hand if you're paying by credit card. Have cash in your pocket. What you don't want to do is be fumbling around, open your wallet, having someone see all the cash, having someone see all the credit cards you have, and have that create a problem for you because they want to get everything you have on you. So, always have payment out and ready. All right, rest stops. Everyone goes to rest stops. We all stop at rest stops. I talked about this last time. We've all heard this over the course of our lives for the parents. Dad, I have to use the restroom. Of course you do. So we need to find a safe place, not the side of the road. I know many years ago, pull up the side of the road, run in the woods. Believe it or not, in Massachusetts, you could be charged with indecent exposure, lewd and lascivious, for actually peeing outside. So we avoid the outside peeing these days and go to a regular rest stop. So you'll always want to choose a safe spot when we park. Lock the doors when you go in. Avoid distractions as far as cell phones. If you see an attraction you want to see and your family is separated, have a signal to your family can meet you either inside the facility or on the side, or go back and get them. But never separate yourself where line of sight's blocked and you can't see each other. I always tell people, stay together. Let's go in the gift shop, let's go in the restaurant, let's go in the bathroom together. Safety is always in numbers. Strangers that approach you, this is huge. Always maintain a safe distance. Now, I know it's tough, but there's ways to stand where you can put yourself on balance so you can react, step aside, defend yourself. Never, ever have your hands in your pockets, hands out, and always look at their hands. If their hands are out, try to stay away from arm's length. Remember, basic self-defense 101. If they can't touch us, they can't hurt us. We're not talking about any kind of weapon right now. This is just situation awareness in the rest stop or the bathroom. Remember, if you feel uncomfortable, you see that sketchy person, don't be embarrassed, don't be afraid about it, just walk away. Always go with your instincts. Remember, if it feels wrong, it is wrong. I tell everyone that. We're all smart, we all can feel that something's just not right with the situation. So I mentioned roadside attractions. How many roadside attractions are there? I travel up to New Hampshire all the time. The scenic route, you see people up there. Survey the area. trying to put yourself totally isolated. If you can stay visible to each other, that's a key thing. Even if you're not right next to each other, line of sight is huge. Communicate with each other. Hey, me and so-and-so are going to go here. We should be back in about 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Have a meeting point. Have a plan if something doesn't happen. How are we going to communicate? Well, cell phones don't always work up in the mountains. So you're going to want a communication plan. Some people use handheld walkie-talkies. They're lightweight. They're not going to go 10 miles. But, they're going to go the distance of a parking lot or around the back of a store or a building. And the kids, if you have young kids, they think it's super cool. They have a little walkie-talkie strapped to them. And tell them if there's a problem, hey, I'm in the mood for ice cream. We never want to say, hey, there's a stranger here, give me a hard time. We don't want them to lose the ability to call us. So I have a code. I love, hey, can we get some ice cream? Even if it's 10 in the morning, 9 in the morning. That's not out of the ordinary for your young child to want ice cream in the morning. So that's not a bad phrase. Now you know something's wrong and we need to get to that person right away. So communication's key. On longer trips, rest stops, you're going to need to stop. You're going to need to get some sleep. Choosing a safe location. Now, if you're going to choose to sleep at a rest stop, I get it. Usually families don't do this, but I know a lot of guys who travel solo and they don't really want to sleep in a hotel room. They'll just, do a cat nap for a few hours and continue on. So you want to stay at a safe location. A couple issues with that, sleeping in your car. You cannot leave it running without some ventilation in. Carbon monoxide poisoning can happen outside as well as inside a building, so you always want to keep the windows down somewhat. That's great, keeping it safe, but what does that give someone access to? That gives someone access being able to put their hands on the window and break it more easily, as opposed to a fully closed window trying to break that open. So obviously lock your doors, keep your valuables hidden. I'm going to talk about this when we go into hotel rooms or motels. Bringing not only your luggage in, but any valuables, backpacks. If you don't have a trunk, do not leave it in the back of your car. Keep your personalized hidden from plain sight. Obviously, people arrest, they tend to take stuff out of their pocket, put their wallet, keys on the dashboard. Maybe want to put it in your glove compartment. People say, well, what if I need to get away really fast? Okay, I get it. So maybe you want to leave your keys in the ignition. Can you do that? Some states, believe it or not, you cannot fall asleep with your keys in ignition. Technically, that's driving a vehicle. So you actually have to have the keys taken out of the ignition. So these are all things you want to do in learning the laws of where you're going to travel to. If you're going to sleep in an RV or campground, well, RVs are great. You can lock those up. Make sure they're reputable. You can check those out online. Good location. Always keep your doors locked. Keep your curtains blind closed. They do make some really nice motion alarms for RVs and campgrounds now, believe it or not. And I know someone who modified a driveway sensor to put in his tent. So if someone opened the tent flap, they would break the beam and they would be woken up, which was a really cool idea. Cameras, obviously no one's going to really have a camera outside the tent, but if they're going to in an RV, they will have access to a camera, and a lot of them do. What do I want you guys to keep next to you? I want you to keep a first aid kit right next to you and communications. I don't want you having to get out of your car, out of your vehicle to go open a compartment. Even an RV, I know a lot of guys who put those bins underneath those sliding compartments. There's tons of room, but you have to get out of the vehicle to get your first aid kit. Always have your first aid kit handy and accessible. All right, we're going to upgrade this a little bit. Now we're not going to sleep in an RV, or we're not going to sleep in a tent. We're going to go to a hotel. Well, make sure you have a safe neighborhood. And I talked about that earlier, where you can research neighborhoods, crime stats. Also look at the reviews. Take reviews with a grain of salt. Not everyone's going to give a good review. And a bad review doesn't necessarily mean the place is horrible. Unless you're seeing, rats and things run down. That's a whole different story. But be cautious when you check into these places. I always ask the person, just don't, and you can say it quietly, hey, do me a favor, just don't mention my room number. because people hang around, they listen to what room number you're in. Why? Because if they know you're in room 1401 and you're there and they know what you're driving and there's two of them and they have communication, they can just keep an eye on that door, making sure you're still in your room while they're doing whatever they want to do to your vehicle or start stealing your stuff. So that's why I never have people announce what room I'm in. And as far as picking your room, I know we all like views. We like to go up high. I always try to get a ground floor room, or at least a room on the second floor. Couple reasons. Ground floor is awesome because in the event of emergency, fire, natural disaster, whatever, you can go out the window. Now, some hotels don't have balconies, which means they don't have a sliding door. So how are we going to get out of the room? Unlike the movies, you're not going to pick up a chair and start smashing a window in a hotel. You're going to need a glass break. So like I talked about earlier, or another show, about keeping your glass break in your car, because 400 people a year drown in their cars in America, because it's not like, oh, I'm just going to hold my breath, equalize, and open the door. That's not true. Same thing is true for glass windows and doors in hotels. You're not going to break those easily. So if you did need to break a window, you want a glass break in your bag. So get two. Keep one in your car, keep one in your travel bag. So people go, Mike, can't you get broken into on your first floor? You can, but the pros outweigh the cons. In case of emergency, you can get out of a first, second floor much more easily than the 10th floor, 100 feet. You're not jumping out 100 feet. If you had to jump out of a second floor window, 20 feet, it's horrible. You may break something, but it may not be fatal. Plus, safety crews, fire departments, ladders, we can get a ladder to the second floor a lot easier than we can get it to the 10th floor, 100 feet up. So that's why I like that. First floor, you want to leave, you don't have to worry about an elevator. Power's out. If the power's out on the 10th floor, guess what? You're walking down 10 flights of stairs. Power's out in the hotel or motel that you're staying at. You're on the first floor, out the door you go. Second floor, one flight of stairs if you choose to use the stairs. Not a disaster. So think of these things. What if you have to carry young children? How many flights of stairs do you want to walk down? Now we have to make a decision. We're going to leave our bags behind. Are you going to be able to get back in there? So all things to consider when you're creating this plan, which you've already made your plan, right? You talked to your significant other. We know what we're going to do if something happens, and life is going to be good. Because we're going to go, we're going to take our bodies where we put our minds earlier. A few other things you want to bring in that your valuables I already talked about in the safe in your room, but bring a first aid kit with you and a flashlight. Nothing is worse than waking up in the dark in a hotel. And people say, when has that ever happened? Well, that's actually happened to me up in New Hampshire. Same thing with elevators. I'm not a fan of elevators. Why? How many people have been stuck in an elevator? I've been stuck in 3 elevators in the city of Boston over my lifetime. Where, unlike the movies, if you pay attention, you're not going to look up and crawl your way out. That's not what's going to happen. You're there, hitting the alarm, waiting for someone to come, and they do have a procedure to rescue you. But it's not a good situation. Okay, so we talked about the flashlight, the glass break in the hotel, and the first aid kit. Wow, that went quick in the last show. All right, well, I guess this will be a 25-minute show, which is fine. That brought us to the tip of the day. So I had a couple, and my wife, who's awesome, and she was writing some things down. But I'm gonna put this tip of the day in another show, what my wife wrote, because something happened this weekend where a buddy of mine was helping me move some stuff, and I left my cell phone in his car, and I did not know his number. So the tip of the day this week is going to be write down your important numbers and keep them with you on a piece of paper. If you lose your phone on a trip, all your numbers are there. I could not. I literally had to drive to my buddy's house to try to find my phone. I finally met up with him, a couple hours later. So write all your important numbers down so you can in touch with each other, whether it's cell phones, whether it's landlines, and make sure everyone in your party has those numbers on them. So if they don't have their phone or they lose their phone, they can get in touch with each other. So there's your tip. All right. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Quick shout out to Chris Harvey, who's going to produce this, and also Michelle Lopez, and my beautiful wife Lisa, who's not here today, who spent a lot of time making notes for me. Sorry, honey. I will get these next show. Thanks a lot.